Hey, Tony from Bike Fairy here. Let's talk about the first thing that you should upgrade on your motorized bike. The chain tensioner. This one's fine, comes with the kit. It'll get the job done, but it's not something I want to rely on long term. So guess what? I chuck it right away. Let's talk about this, my go-to. Let's roll. So as you can see in our previous videos, we mounted our engine right on the frame. It's good and solid. And we also got our rear wheel gear on with our hub adapter. Go watch those previous videos if you haven't to see how we do that before you get to this step. But if you notice, our chain comes around, it's gonna wanna come up here, right over this gear. There's gonna be a clearance issue because you see how close that gear is to that stay, right? So we have to position our arch chain tensioner at the right distance from the rear gear. Let's dive in. So we're gonna bolt it on the frame here with the U-bolt, and we're gonna bolt it on here with the U-bolt. So the problem will be, we can't go too far this way or too close that way. We gotta find that sweet spot. So what I did is I marked generally where I think it should go with a piece of tape. You should do the same. That'll be your starting point. So first thing we're gonna do is run our chain through the engine's gear. What we're gonna use is our spark plug tool and a screwdriver. I'm gonna put it over the nut here and lay this on the gear. We're gonna rotate it. You gotta keep it down so don't get caught in there. Now if you notice, there's no spark plug in there. Check it out. Nice, huh? That keeps the compression from resisting what we're trying to do here. Anytime that you see that or it's skipping, check this out. Okay, see how it skipped the tooth? We got to back it out and fix that. Because you don't want your chain getting bound up and not sitting properly on the gear all the way around. Because it'll get caught in the housing here and then you'll wrestle it for way too long. So let's, okay. And even down here, see how it's getting caught in there? You gotta grab a hold of that. Make sure it's all like that. Put your tool back on. Now we're good. See? See how that works? Good deal. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift our chain up here. After we run a good amount through, you see how much we got through the engine right here. We've got about 8 inches or so hanging off of here. Run it over our gear, our rear gear. Now we gotta make sure that we get the right chain length off of here. If you notice, our other chain on here is not too loose and not too tight. It's kind of in between. I was riding the bike before I put it up on here, so I know how it's performing, and I wanted it right in the middle. That way I have some adjustment for tensioning it, okay? So our goal is to get our chain as flat as possible, go around the sprocket, and then back to the engine, and then fit our chain tensioner, our arch chain tensioner in here at an optimum spacing so that we don't hit anything. It's a clear path, and it's straight from the front to the back gear. So one thing you have to keep in mind, all of this is new, so everything fits really tight. It's not like something that's broken in and everything just kind of lays together, right? Like everything, like the chain is tight, the spacing's really tight, because they allow for some stretch in here, okay? So everything's gonna fit, kind of not as good as you think it should at first. That's okay, you gotta seat it in there, and then you gotta stretch things out and really get it to wanna work together. So you can see that our chain is about gonna sit right there. If you look at how it's around the gear in the back and the gear in the front on the engine, we're about there. So next, we're gonna put our arch chain tensioner in and really see where it wants to land to make sure that we have clearance here to, you know, just to really get everything starting to work together. So to mount this on, you need your U-bolt. You're gonna go right on the top. Then we've got our plate. This is not a point where you want to worry about washers and lock nuts and all that stuff yet. We're just trying to get everything to sit together and work together for the first time. At this point, all you need to do is make sure everything is snug, because we might have to move it this way or that way. So the next thing you need to do is some modifications possibly. When they cut the arch chain tensioners at the factory, sometimes the tolerants are just a little too tight. This is an easy fix. You could solve this problem one or two ways. You could file the inside of here out, or you can modify your bolt. Not a big deal. I'll show you how to do it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take your bolt out. We're gonna put a nut on. Show you what the problem is. So the bolt doesn't want to go through here because it's a little bit beveled in here and out there from the cutter. No big deal. We'll simply sand a flat spot on both sides of our bolt. First, what you want to do is put the nut on here so that you can make sure your threads are healthy when you undo it, when you're all done. That's how we do it. What this does is gives us a flat side, see it shiny silver, on both sides of our bolt. To then fit into here, really easy. And it won't turn as easy either, right? See that shiny? Both sides. So now it'll adjust up and down just like we need it to. We use the nut that we put on there to make sure the threads are clear. Slide the bolt in, put one nut on. Do that until it's tight. We'll go ahead and put a backer nut on. That'll keep the first one from coming loose. Okay. We need to do another one to get our spacing just right. Then a washer and our outer nut. 3 nuts, 1 Allen bolt, 2 washers. So let's put it in as low as possible in our arch tensioner, and then our washer. Washer on, and our outer nut. So our main concern will be going towards the spokes and getting it out of the way of there. That's really close right now. So we want to make sure, in this back nut here, get it closer to your tensioner wheel. Tighten this one up. You really want it ideally to be in line with your chain. Then we'll run our chain up and over. So now it's time to cut the chain, because you know how they send it to you a little too long, so you can adjust it for your bike. But make sure that it's around the rear sprocket properly, around the front sprocket properly, and it's pretty tight on the top here. So what I did is I put a piece of tape on here where I think I'm gonna cut it. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes because, you know, you got your wheel and everything that you can adjust on your arch tensioner. But I feel like I'm gonna cut it, you know, there, right? Can you see that? But what I tend to do, because there's a lot of play in all of this, like my other chain is pretty slack. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of taking this one off, I'm actually gonna go to the next one, take it off, and then connect these 2 links and test. For those of you who've never cut chain before, what I'll do is run through it really quickly, okay? You're just gonna grind these pins off on both sides, and then, see how that one there? And then you're gonna punch that out. Here we go. super important note here. Check out the direction of the clip. Open end here. The reason you want that is because you want the closed end. It's going to follow here, 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 around the sprocket into here, and it's going to go bam right into the engine casing. You don't want that open end to arrive at the engine casing first. You want the blunt closed end. That way it just goes bam, and it actually pushes it on. Remember that. At this point, you can see that both chains have about the same amount of slack, okay? That gives us enough room to pull our tire back. So both of our chains have a little bit of play, right? Got a little bit of play here. Tighten up, it's fine. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go that way with our arch tensioner. So as you can see that both chains are pretty equally tensioned, right? Pretty nice, huh? Okay, so this is bolted on with the U-bolt here, U-bolt here. We've extended out our wheel so it's in line with the chain. Everything is the way it should be. Now, it's all new. You would not want to just hop on this and go at this point. We still have clearance things that we have to go through. So we're going to go ahead and put our clutch cover back on. That way the bucking bar and the ball bearing doesn't fall out. And then we're going to count this as good for right now. We'll go ahead in the next video and assemble the other parts of the bike. And then what we'll do is we'll come up to a point where we're going to test everything. And then we'll make all those adjustments. I'm going to do an entire video on just how to adjust everything that we've done so far so that you're ready to ride for your first ride. So be on the lookout for that because I'm pretty excited about it. You're going to get to test ride with me the first ride. I'm going to video the whole thing. So we got to assemble the rest of the bike in steps. And then we're going to run through an entire test, make sure all of this is good. And I'll show you exactly how to adjust it and what happens to me in real time. Like if something isn't quite what it needs to be, the chain ends up falling off or whatever, I'm going to go through exactly what happened and then we'll discover together how to fix it, okay? So thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time that we got to focus on the ARCHED chain tensioner. This is a really cool piece. It's definitely the first upgrade that I suggest. But, you know, till then, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you've used one of these ARCHED chain tensioners. I think they're the best. They're the top. I never had a problem. I put one on my first one, and it's still working well today. So I really encourage you to check out the link below and get one for yourself. Till then, let's roll.